Dr. Carson, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Tell me real quick about what this whole West Point scholarship story that Politico is running is all about. Explain your version of this so we understand.
Okay. Well, what happened is, I rose through the ranks very quickly, faster than anyone had ever done so, to become the city executive officer for the city of Detroit. As such, I got a lot of attention, got invited to a lot of things, met a lot of people, and I was told that because of my accomplishments, they would be able to manage to get me into West Point and that I wouldn't have to pay anything. And I kind of quashed it at that moment. I told them I was very honored, but I was going to be a doctor and that I wasn't going to take that route. And that was kind of the end of that. So there was no application process. I never even started down that path.
Right. So just so I understand, the beef that the campaign yourself have with Politico is that they started to go down this normal path of applying and admission process, and you're saying they got that wrong because that's not the way it went down.
That's completely wrong. And I don't know where they would have gotten that from. Certainly no one in our campaign told them that.
Right. Okay. And so when you say in Gifted Hands that you were offered a full scholarship, I believe that those were the correct words, offered a full scholarship, you were referring to this conversation that you just referred to. Is that do I have that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So just what is your message to evangelicals as it relates to this in terms of what the media is doing here and about the vetting process and about being under scrutiny? Go ahead.
Yeah, my message is that all that's going on I fully expect because particularly the secular progressive movement is incredibly threatened by me. And, they will continue to look for anything. I mean, they'll ask my kindergarten teacher, did I ever wet my pants? I mean, they will go through all lengths, trying to discredit me. But, I have the truth on my side, so I'm not particularly worried about them. They're already very frustrated because, they've been every place I've ever lived, every place I've worked. They were sure there'd be some kind of scandal. They were sure that some nurse having an affair with something, and they're getting very, very frustrated.
And you believe that they took it out of context because in the book you explained the context of that meeting with who you were meeting with.
Right, they've taken it out of context completely. They probably had the story already written, and then when they talked to someone at my campaign, they didn't bother to correct the facts. They figure, they get a big sensational story.
Just real quick, any regrets about using the words I was offered a full scholarship? Because some people may interpret that as that West Point, some people that might not understand that would think that West Point would actually have offered you a full scholarship. I don't. There might have been some confusion there, and that might
right.
be part of it.
Well, that's the way it was presented to me. I understand that the way West Point works now is, through a different mechanism, but that's the way it was presented to me. And you're looking, and I'm thinking of something that happened almost a half a century ago.